Modern off-roading is a multi-billion-dollar industry built around this specific silhouette. But the official history of the Jeep omits the small Pennsylvania firm that actually designed it. Ford and Willys Overland are often credited as the creators of the Jeep. While they were the primary manufacturers during the war, they were not the architects of the original design. That credit belongs to the American Bantam Car Company. In 1940, the firm was essentially bankrupt, operating with a skeleton crew in a factory that was nearly silent. By early 1940, the U.S. Army realized it lacked the mechanized mobility of the German Blitzkrieg. To replace its aging motorcycles and horses, the War Department needed a lightweight, all-terrain scout vehicle for reconnaissance. The vehicle that eventually mechanized the Allied forces began as a desperate government request that ended in a massive corporate heist. On July 11, 1940, the Army specified a quarter-ton 4x4, requiring four-wheel drive, 85 foot-pounds of torque, and a fold-down windshield. The final requirement, an empty weight of 1,300 pounds, was physically impossible. The heavy axles and transfer case would consume the entire allowance. On top of the engineering constraints, the Army demanded a fully functional prototype delivered to Maryland for testing in exactly 49 days. Because Bantam was insolvent and had no engineering staff, they hired Karl Probst, a freelance designer from Detroit. He was initially offered no upfront salary, only the promise of payment if the Army accepted the bid. While industrial giants like Ford saw the 1,300-pound limit as a reason to ignore the request, Probst and the desperate team at Bantam saw it as their only chance to stay in business. Probst arrived in Pennsylvania and immediately began a relentless drafting sprint. Working with only a pencil and paper, he finished the complete engineering blueprints for a new 4x4 platform in just 48 hours. To meet the 49-day deadline, he designed the vehicle around existing industrial components, like a Continental engine and Studebaker axles. But he ignored the unattainable weight limit, submitting a 1,850-pound design, banking on the military's urgent need. Bantam was awarded the contract, and a skeleton crew began round-the-clock assembly. They were so short on time, they actually drove the finished prototype from the factory to the test site just to break in the engine. On September 23, 1940, exactly 49 days after the contract award, Bantam delivered the Blitz buggy prototype to the Army's Camp Hullabard facility. The Army's testing was designed to break the vehicle over 30 days of relentless trials. It was driven through deep mud pits, navigated frame-twisting ditches, and forced up 60. Against all mechanical logic, a nearly bankrupt small manufacturer had engineered the most capable scout vehicle the military had ever seen. While the prototype was a success, the War Department had a logistical concern. Bantam only had about 450 employees. They lacked the factory scale to produce hundreds of thousands of vehicles for a global war. The Army claimed that because they had funded the development, the blueprints were now government property. They moved to bypass Bantam's ownership of the design. During the active testing phase, military officials invited technical representatives from Ford and Willys Overland to Camp Hullabard. These rival engineers were given unrestricted access to measure and study the Bantam prototype. In the ultimate betrayal, the Quartermaster Corps handed Karl Probst's finished blueprints directly to Ford and Willys, instructing them to copy and refine Bantam's work. Using these stolen blueprints, Ford and Willys were able to build virtually identical prototypes in a fraction of the time, utilizing the same drivetrain architecture Bantam had already proven. The foundation of what would become the legendary Jeep was built using technical data taken directly from a smaller competitor. By July 1941, the military standardized the design into a single hybrid vehicle. They combined Karl Probst's Bantam chassis with the Willys Go Devil engine and the Ford flat hood and stamped steel grille. Willys won the primary contract, while Ford was granted a non-exclusive license to manufacture identical copies to ensure the Army's massive demand was met. Together, Ford and Willys built over 600,000 vehicles. These mass production contracts generated massive corporate profits and cemented their names as the heroes of American wartime industry. American Bantam was shut out of vehicle production entirely. They were given a small contract to build cargo trailers, and by the end of the war, the company was forced into bankruptcy. Karl Probst, the engineer who designed the blueprint that shifted the tactical mobility of the Allied forces, was eventually paid a total of just $200 for his work. Today, that stolen design is the basis for a multi-billion-dollar 4x4 market, even as the names of its original designers have largely faded from the public record. The Jeep's success is undeniable, but it forces a choice, whether this theft was a Cold Wartime necessity or a calculated corporate betrayal.